120 million people visited the porn site Pornhub today. 11,000 hours of porn are being watched there in this very minute. Approximately up to 30% of the internet content is porn-related. And the most popular day to watch porn is a Sunday. So, good Lord, thank you that we are here together now on a Saturday. I care about the future of your sex. I really do. We are all human. We are sexual, technological, narrative, and political beings. We have our kinks and preferences. All the actions we take have a direct impact on our environment, and consumption is our daily bread. Think about how technology and consumer culture have shaped aspects of your sex life. Think about contraceptives, think about sex toys, and pornography, of course. Folks usually don't talk so much about their sex life or about watching porn, except me. I do this all the time. Why? I am the creative director of the Porn Film Festival here in Vienna. Woo! Cheers to that! And I just can tell you that I watch quite a lot of smutty stuff. Hey, I love my job. And you know, from doing so and from having this job, I really learned quite a lot. It even changed my view on bodies, especially my own body, and sexualities. Our choices have consequences. We need to deal with porn the same way we deal with, let's say, recycling, or how we address water shortages. We need to change the way we consume porn. Well, we need to do that. Because abandoning is not really an option, as some people might say. Pornography is an age-old way to portray sex, to get aroused, to deal with taboos and shame. I love porn. I really do. I would not want to miss it. I firmly believe that social and economic context influences how, when, and in what way we consume. So we should really openly ask whether good porn can make the world a better place. So today we are going to talk about what good porn actually is, about the environmental costs of internet pornography, and finally about how good porn influences the world. So, we all watch porn. At least, we all have seen one. Imagine that. And for many of us, this means, out of ignorance or not knowing where to consume, of course, we open up the internet, the browser tabs, we go to the classical mainstream porn sites, and there we end up going to see the classical, boring, heteronormative porn. Sad smiley. Don't know what I mean by that? Well, that's totally okay, because you might not even hear about good porn or ethical porn, let alone consume it. So I have to come back to the mainstream porn sites. Most of the content that you can find there is actually quite sexist, discriminating, misogynist, and violent. So is there good porn? And enthusiastically, yes, there is. But we need so much more of it. We need ethical porn productions, or so-called fair trade porn. And what this, yeah, and by this, I mean, good working conditions are created for those people who are working on set. There is really a fair payment for all the people involved in such a production. There are precise agreements about what is shot and how and when, and attention is paid to hygiene, health, safer sex, of course, and transparency about what happens to the material afterwards. Where is it published? Who has access to it? All these things mean ethical porn or fake trade porn. And all this already exists. Porn can be about real lust and sexual well-being. It can be feminine and queer positive. It can be, gender aware and at the same time male friendly. Porn, to put it differently, is part of society. Porn is political. So now let's have a look at sustainability. First of all, I want to introduce you to sex ecology. Sex ecology or ecosexuality is a trending sexual identity that describes everything from literally having sex literally again with the earth to getting it on the most eco-friendly ways possible. And that's quite a range, actually. The founders of these movements are Annie Sprinkle and Beth Stevens. Annie Sprinkle was a porn actress herself, she was a sex worker, and she has been an activist since the late 1970s. And for them, especially, sex ecology means that they are married, yes, you heard right, they are married to earth, sky, sea, soil, and a multitude of natural beings. And as it is in every good marriage, they even have sex with those forces of nature. Can you believe that? Well, if this now for some of you sound a little bit too new agey, well, other forms of sustainable sex activism exist. So secondly, let me introduce you to the one with the most obvious title. Fuck for Forest. Two Norwegians, Johansson and Ellingsen, founded a website based on the concept that they use porn in order to raise money for an ecological project to protect the rainforest. So, sex sells? Does it even sell better for a good cause? Well, the project itself, how it was executed, and the philosophy behind it had to face quite a lot of criticism. But still, I think it is worthwhile to discuss because pornography has a footprint. Because we always consume it on some form of hardware. Magazines, books, celluloids, DVDs, Super 8 films, you name it. And most of the time on the internet. So let's look now deeper into the environmental costs of internet pornography. Most people think that the carbon footprint of online porn is much smaller than it was in the heydays of physical media. In principle, dematerialization is a very effective approach, but we can't forget the combined carbon emissions of server farms and still physical media. Although, of course, server farms are a little bit greener, I have to admit that. Precise numbers are very hard to come by, if they exist at all. But I have an interesting example for all of you here. If Pornhub streams as efficiently as Netflix does, the company would use around 6 million kilowatt hours per year. Let that sink. So, Pornhub only uses the energy of 11,000 light bulbs turned on a year. That's pretty low impact, actually. Especially if you compare it to the energy that is needed, to the oil that is needed, if you want to make and distribute, let's say, thousands of DVDs or maybe millions of it. The advent of broadband and the so-called porn tube sites in the early 2000s allowed it for users like us to view clips for free. And suddenly, this meant that porn was accessible from anywhere, at any time, in high quality. This led actually to a big porn explosion, you know, like the Big Bang of porn. And of course, the COVID pandemic drastically increased online porn usage. How should it be different? But companies like Pornhub also want to be part of a green movement. So in 2014, Pornhub actually launched a campaign that was called Pornhub Gives America Woods. A promise to plant 1 tree for every 100 views in a category called Big Dick. The campaign went viral, of course. And certainly we can ask if this is real social responsibility or just a marketing tactic. But at least they do something. So, by show of hands now, who here in the audience did not know about Pornhub before my talk now? Raise your hands. Don't be shy. Okay. Well, some more things than for you. Pornhub belongs to a vast porn empire, quietly run by a Canadian company called MindGeek. And actually, MindGeek is the largest adult entertainment operator globally, and one of the top 5 bandwidth consumption operators also globally. So, and of course, MindGeek not only represents Pornhub, but in total, they own and represent 164 pornographic membership sites. That's actually a very monopolistic dominance. And still, again, at this point, I have to say that the mainstream industry and all the mainstream porn we can watch on this 164 porn sites that some of you surely know. This still is full of exploitative tactics, and the material, the clips uploaded there are mostly illegally obtained. Please always remember that. Well, so, the solution cannot be that you stop watching porn. No, absolutely no. But it ultimately must be a reflective approach. Yes, this is what it's about. And this must not only refer to porn. This should extend to our bodies, our sexuality, because we all consume. We all have to reflect. So use alternatives like ethical porn productions, feminist porn sites, use fair trade sex toys, use fair trade hygiene products. You know, even a solar-powered vibrator exists already. So it's up to you. The question about fair and equitable bandwidth on the internet still is extremely relevant. And we really need to care about our mental and our natural environment. So let's start to imagine a world together where we all watch good porn. Imagine it. What would be the effects of that? Actually, very much is already known about this. First of all, porn increases satisfaction. And we all want to feel good. Masturbation would increase, self-care. And this means, and studies show this, that this makes us happier. Porn helps to normalize desires. Do you like to get off while dressing up like a werewolf, maybe? Do you like to have sex with a lamp? Or with a train? You up there, maybe? And did you all hear the story about this woman who married the Eiffel Tower because she totally got turned on by it? Well, the more we have to fill up our desires and kinks, the better all will be. And of course, diverse porn can lead to more acceptance within a society. If we have tons of sex-positive, feminist, queer, hairy, non-binary, body-positive, and ethical porn to choose from, as we are all different. Porn can help you figure out what turns you on. The wiser the choice, the better porn can be. Lustful, honest, and self-empowering. And this choice is up to you. Yeah. Thank you.